Welcome back to Croch80hd. I'm your host, Jackie. Welcome to my one-hit wonders if this is your first time visiting, and welcome back to my repeat offenders. You know who you are, and I love you. Today's episode is Chit-Chat Cafe, Croch80hd and why. Again, I've explained this a couple of times, I think, but Crow is for crochet, obviously. Crochet has been with me ever since I learned how to do it, and it has gotten me through some very stressful experiences in my life, and I think that's probably why I carry an emergency crochet hook, because you just never know when you're going to need it. The 80s. I love the 80s. Y'all, I love the 80s. I love 80s music. I love 80s trends. I love 80s fads. I love 80s television shows, movies from the 80s. I don't love all of the fashion from the 80s. I would love to get my hands on a Swatch watch. I remembered looking a couple of years ago to see if they actually made like Swatch watches that were like the what is this? Like a smartwatch. There it is. Smart Swatch watch. I want to get the little band thing that goes. I loved Swatch watches. I never had one. There were a lot of trends in the 80s that passed me by. Just because, you know, my family, we just didn't do that. I had a strawberry shortcake rag doll. I actually still have her. It was an orange blossom. She smelled like oranges. She does not smell like that anymore. That's the only like thing that I can remember that was, you know, really, really popular in the 80s. And I actually got it in the 80s. I love Cabbage Patch Kids. I think I have 100. I'm not sure. It's something that didn't start collecting until the early 2000s. I did get rid of a lot of them, probably in like 2012, because we were moving and I was trying to downsize some things. But then in 2020, I started collecting them again. So anyway, I have my records from my childhood. They live right up in here. I have a record player. Yeah, I love the 80s. And I believe it's a matter of my coming of age time was in the 80s, because my formative years were from 80 to 89. And being a person, as a kid, I was a military brat, so I moved around a lot. And when I got to junior high, I was actually, we had stopped traveling. So I was in one spot, and I was in one spot for years. And unfortunately, the place that I was not very friendly. So the radio became my friend. The radio and MTV were my best friends. I listened to music all day. I would fall asleep. My husband would joke and say it's like I slept with my ear on the radio. I did sleep with the radio, but anyway, I loved it. And so even though I didn't have a boyfriend, or, you know, I didn't have any of those experiences that a lot of songs are written about, I felt like I was feeling the feelings though, because even though like I had crushes, and of course they were unrequited crushes. So songs that were about a breakup or, you know, just whatever, I felt like a connection to them. And a lot of the songs, like once I got older, they took on different meanings. Like Jack and Diane is one of the first songs that I can remember liking the song and then seeing the video, and, you know, it was just the clapping hands, and I was like, oh, this is an awesome song. But then I got into my 30s and I listened to it again, and I was like, wait, hold on to 16 as long as you can. Changes come around real soon, make us women and men. What? He's waxing poetic. I didn't know that. I'm just going, yeah, clap, 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 clap outside the Tasty Freeze. The Glory Days, by Bruce Springsteen. again, I love the song because in my head it's like a baseball game and they're just sitting around talking about how much fun they had. And then I was like sitting around talking about how much fun I had when I was young and my glory to all of these songs that meant something to me as a teenager took on a whole different meaning to me as an adult. But I could, oh, just so many songs. And the 80s music just touches me in such a way. There's one experience that I can remember again, looking at a song long after it was recorded and released. It was right after Hurricane Katrina. And, that took place 4 hours south of me. But when people were evacuating and they came up to this area, and I felt it was like just a sad, sad feeling. And one day, Walmart parking lot, and somebody was playing Don't Stop Believing in their car. And I think I was walking back to the car with my daughters, and he was getting ready to turn off his car. I said, no, please don't stop. And he let it play. And it was so cool because I was like, we were going through some stuff with everything that was happening because of Hurricane Katrina. And then this voice from my past was like, hey, don't stop believing. That was the first song that my daughters learned, like lyrically, they learned it from beginning to end. And so that song especially has a special place in my heart. But, it's, again, music has different meanings depending on when you hear it. The HD part, I did not get diagnosed with ADHD until I was in my 40s. It explains so much about my whole life that I wish I could have been diagnosed earlier, but I genuinely think that would not have been possible, because when you look at ADHD, most people assume that it's somebody that's jumping around all the time, yelling and screaming and stuff. But, there is a channel on YouTube that I love. She actually helped me get to the point where I went and saw a doctor to be diagnosed. It's called How to ADHD. This is my little, I guess, PSA. Take a look at her channel. She is so encouraging, but again, you learn so much, because again, there's things that people that have lived with, and they didn't even realize what it was. So yeah, anyway, so very thankful for her channel. Another channel, while I'm just kind of in this, that goes along with the 80s part of Jackie's life, the Professor of Rock. If you like 70s and 80s, 60s, 70s, and 80s music especially, if you like that kind of music, the Professor of Rock channel, it's awesome. He and I are around the same age. He got his education the same way my children got their education. So his dad had introduced him to a lot of the 60s and 70s music, and it developed an appreciation in him. So his coming of age was the 80s. And when he talks about music, it's all the feels. It's the same thing, like I had just explained. It's just all the feels of it. He's able to interview a lot of these people who were in these bands, or the whole band or whatever, from years ago. And I think it's just amazing, because it's just, he's not famous, but he's not like, I don't know how famous he is. He's just so smart. He's so entertaining. And yeah, if you love, and like at the beginning of his episode, he's like, if you understand the connection between a cassette tape and a pencil, this channel is for you. Or if you've ever put a quarter on the side of an arcade game to save your spot, this channel is for you. So I'm going to link him and the How to ADHD down in the description box. Little moniker, croch80hd, describes me to a T. That took longer than I thought it would, but I'm glad to have shared it with you, because, getting I just want you to get to know me a little bit better. Let's talk about Rose Likes Crochet. Awesome channel. Every month she does an ask, if you will, from her YouTube family for different donations for an organization called Wings. It is a domestic violence organization in her area in Illinois. And every month there's a different item that she is looking for makers to send in so that these will all be taken to the organization and given out to the people who need them. For the month of September, she's looking for winter sets. That is a hat with a matching scarf or a hat with a matching cowl. And you can also make gloves or fingerless gloves to go along with them. The important part is that the items need to be matching. So only send them in matching sets. They don't have to be twins, but maybe sisters, that kind of thing. These items are going to be given to people in the who are part of the Wings organization that are victims of domestic violence. And in Illinois especially, it gets incredibly cold. So just think about using your 4-weight, your 5-weight, I guess even chunkier, just, to make some items. Now, you don't have to participate. I'm just saying that I think this is a worthy cause, and I would love for my YouTube family to get involved. I will put a link in the description for some scarf, hat, and cowl patterns. That just something simple that we can work up, because these need to be made and sent and received hopefully no later than September 30th. I will give you the information as to where you will send these items, because they will go to Rose. Rose will, if you're not familiar with her channel, when she gets in donations like this, she does like an unboxing of them on her channel. When you watch her channel, you get you're inspired in a number of ways. One, at the huge heart that the crochet and knit community has to give to others, because all of the items that are sent in are donated to people in need, and that's wonderful. But you're also inspired because you can see the skill, the craft, the talent that exists inside of the crochet and knit community, and I think that's wonderful. Again, all of these people with all this talent, and they're using it to help somebody that they don't even know. That's what makes this community so awesome. Before I forget, Miss Hetty is wearing a knit sweater that I made last year. The pattern that I used was horrible. And again, my love-hate relationship with knitting still very, very strong. This was made with actually a complete Caron cake and then some leftovers from another Caron cake. The pattern was supposed to be worked in one piece from the bottom up until under the underarms, and then you were supposed to just cast on extra stitches and then continue to knit up and around to make the sleeves, and then you would cast off those stitches and then go to the bottom. I tried that. It was horrible. It was horrible. It was horrible. So what I ended up doing, I think, was frogging everything. And then, I frogged everything and then knit from the bottom up, omitting the sleeves. And I just went all the way around, leaving the opening for the neck. So it was basically a big long rectangle with a hole in the middle. And then I picked up stitches on the shoulder and then knit the sleeves in the round. I can't believe I remembered any of that, because to look at it, no. So the pattern, unfortunately, it was a free pattern. It's still online. It is actually from one of the big yarn companies. I don't remember what it is. I even took it off my Ravelry because I was just so ashamed of it was a horrible pattern. It was a horrible, horrible pattern. But I did like the fact that I was able to use up my scraps, because on the back side of this, like the neck also came from the same pattern as I did the cuff of the sleeve. I'm so proud of myself now that I'm looking at it. The cuff, the neck, and the bottom cuff all came from the same skein, which is not the same as the, I guess, the main middle part. And then on the back, the top part of the back is white with brown speckles through it, which also came from this yellow skein. I remember I made a Hetty was wearing it in a previous episode, but it was the Brooklyn sweater. And I love wearing it. There's a little weird gappy part in the back, but I think that's because, again, the pattern was really, really bad. So anyway, all right. Right, I am moving right along. I have noticed that knitting videos on average tend to run about an hour and a half versus crochet videos, which maybe at most 30-35 minutes. And I was just wondering why that is. Not in a negative way, because I enjoy the lengthy knitting videos because, again, I'm using them to keep me company. I like, again, getting to know the artist, but I just am curious as to why there's just such a, I guess, a big discrepancy in the length of videos. Because now, in these long videos that I'm talking about, it's not like they only have like 3 views. They have thousands of views. So there's got to be something to it. A theory is when you are knitting, when you are taking time out of your day to knit, it takes longer to knit. So therefore, it doesn't maybe feel like that much time is passing. And when you're in the zone, and everybody, you have your zone where you're like, okay, I'm just going to sit here for a few minutes and crochet a few stitches and we'll be fine. And then the next thing you know, you can hear the chickens crowing. I don't know. Roosters crowing, because chickens don't crow. Okay. But you understand what I'm saying is that time just kind of gets away from you. And, with these knitting videos, it's a long time, but it's not like dead space. It's not, where you're just sitting there and listening to. It's all in very engaging conversation or engaging content. So I'm just curious as to why crochet videos seem to be shorter. Is that something that you've noticed? Do you have a theory as to why? Okay, here I am. Let's see. Okay, I am on, there we go. I am on the last section of the, purple, pink, gray. And I think I'm going to use the purple and make a picot edge or something along those lines. But other than that, I think she's done. Oh, am I showing you the side with all the scraps? Wait a minute, with all the tails. I am so sorry. There. Isn't that pretty? That's so pretty. It's actually been fun to work on because, again, I don't have to look down at it all the time, and I can just go. I gotta, now that I'm finished with this, I gotta figure out what to make next. Actually, I think I have figured out what I'm going to be working on next. So if you remember, in July, the shawl that I made was one that I had designed myself, and it was called the Pursuing Peace shawl. Once you get the base established, it's just a 2-row repeat. So it's a lacy shawl here, and it just goes, whoops. So can you see the ribbing? Wait, let me get it right. Yeah, there you go. See the ribbing. So it's this row right here, which is front post double crochets, and then the next row is double crochet, chain 1, that kind of thing. So I finished this one, and then I started on another one, which I'm making out of fingering weight yarn and a J hook, so it's going to be lacier. And the yarn is Hobby Lobby authentic hand dyed, but it's 50% wool and 50% lyocell. I hate the yarn. It's a beautiful yarn. I hate the yarn because it is kind of splitty, and I've used it. I tried to use it first. I tried to knit with it first, and no. Then I tried Tunisian crocheting with it. So this, using the the J hook, I think is actually a really good combination that has worked for me, and it hasn't been as splitty. While I was designing the shawl, I was stitching and writing the pattern, and then finished this pattern. And now I'm using what I wrote down, and I'm following those instructions to see how it goes. But again, it's just a 2-row repeat. So once you get the thing established, it's mindless after that. So next time I make it, I'm going to record myself. So it'll be a tutorial. It'll be my very first tutorial. And from there, I plan to release a pattern. And I'm going to release it to you, my fam, because y'all are awesome. Now this segment is called Stuff I Got. Normally in a professional YouTube yarn video, they would refer to this as acquisitions, but I needed this to be more Jackie-like, so I'm calling it Stuff I Got. Okay, so the first stuff I got, I missed the Michael 75% off sale, but I went the very next day because, you know, that's the same. Anyway, the very next day, they did have a few clearance items. They weren't necessarily 75% off. I don't remember what the percentage was, but I got some of this. It's loops and thread, regular price $11.99, and I got it for $3. 75% off. Haha, I just realized that. Anyway, it's called Baby Delight, and it is 557 yards, 510 meters. It is a 70% acrylic and 30% polyamide. It uses a 4mm or G hook. It's a lightweight 3. Look, that looks like the same colors. Wait a minute. There we go. Okay. Now I got 4 of these because my plan is to Tunisian crochet a sweater or a jumper. I love that. I love that term, jumper. So either a jumper, a cardigan, or a vest. And with 4 of these, by using a 3-weight, I feel like the density or the thickness of the Tunisian knit stitch would be the same as if it was a 4-weight or Aran weight yarn. And so that's what I'm thinking. So if I'm going to try to find a pattern, make a pattern, or just use a traditional crochet sweater, jumper, cardigan, vest pattern. But I got 4 of these, which is more than enough. 557 times 4 is 2,228 yards is more than enough, I think, to make a decent sweater, jumper, cardigan, vest. This next stuff I got, it's a chick that knits, and I decided that I went in, I looked around in her shop, and she had a lot of beautiful stuff, but I wanted to get something that was affordable to me. I think I'm getting ready to go on a tangent. It's not a tangent. That's not it. I'm going to go off kilter. I'm going to go off the rails, but not in a bad way. I love hand-dyed yarns. I think they are beautiful. I love them. They are just because, again, the artistic talent that takes in order to get your colors just right and then not have one run into another. And I think it is a beautiful, beautiful art. Unfortunately, I cannot afford a lot of those yarns. She had a sale, and I just picked up a couple of skeins. They were affordable to me, and even though it was a small contribution, I felt like it was, you know, a contribution. I got 2 skeins of, it is Cascade 220. This color is called Aqua Haze. You see that? Oh, look at that. Okay. All right. The specs on it are, it is 100% Peruvian Highland wool, 100 grams, 220. That's why it's called Cascade 220, 220 yards. That's genius. Okay, and needs a 4.5 or 5 millimeter hook, which is a G+ or H hook, made in Peru, hand wash only. All right, now let's do smells like wool. It's not super wash, so I don't know that I would necessarily want it against my neck. I got 2 of these, so 440 yards. I'm not really sure what I can make out of it, but the color, it's actually my very favorite color. This one, which is called Summer Sky. You see that? Wait, oops. Yeah, very pretty. I really plan to shop with her again, because again, she has some of her, like, she does have hand dyed yarn, but she also has some of the, you know, like whatever this is called, you know, like hanks of yarn. And I got a discount for my next purchase, so, you know, when it comes to making shawls, I guess I'd like to figure out what's good in my brain that says, hey, you should make shawl, because I just love them. They just make me happy. I'm not going to apologize for that, of course. I just would like to understand it, because I'm a crazy person, and yeah, but I want to make all the shawls. But I do want to design another shawl. When I sit down to say, okay, I'm going to design a new shawl pattern, I'm probably, more than likely, which cannot be helped, it will probably draw from previous inclinations, previous things that I've done, but not a copy of. I might say, oh, I like the fact that this one has lace. That doesn't mean it's a copy, because my lace pattern might work differently. I might look at knit shawls and say, ooh, I like how it does this. Now let me see if I can figure out how to translate that into crochet. I am expecting a package, my very first order from Mary Maxim. That will be an unboxing, and it'll be a video of its in and of itself. I do hope that you get a chance to participate in the winter sets campaign for Rose Likes Crochets / Wings. Even if you can only make one set, it goes a long way. Just trust me. So again, I hope that that's something that you can, you know, give some consideration to. I will talk about it more in September. I think if I ever start getting Happy Mail, I'm just going to call it Walking on Sunshine, because, you know, every time I go for the mailbox, gotta hold myself down. That song's going to be stuck in my head for a little while, and I will try my hardest to finish this without breaking out in the song. If you have enjoyed yourself, please, by all means, like the video. Comment. I love having conversations with people down in the comment section. It's very encouraging. It's very inspiring. I am getting to know everybody this way. I think it's good, and I'm not fooling myself into believing that it's always going to be that way. I know that people can get ruthless when they want to be, but for right now, those that are my fam, that I'm calling you my fam, y'all are great. Y'all are awesome and encouraging, and just, yes, keep it up. Okay. That is all for today. Okay. Until next time, I've been Jackie.